Good morning, high school. It is Monday, September 13th, and for the first time in a year, I'm in the Philippines and 8,500 miles closer to our empty halls. Yeah, we weren't sure it was ever going to happen, but we did make it back to Manila just before this past weekend. We got held up at the airport a few times with our paperwork, but we finally got through, and now we're living out of suitcases in our quarantine hotel down in the city. So if sometime the next week you are at High Street, you can wave up at us in our hotel. Some of you may have heard this already, but last Wednesday we left the little cottage that we've been staying in for the past year, but we also drove away from two of our kids. We left Zeb and Jai in the United States so they can live with family and go to school there for this year. Leaving two high school age sons in a different country, it's a rough decision. It's not one we thought we were going to have to make. And since we made it, and now since we've actually done it and left our boys behind, we've had a lot of people ask, was that the right decision? Do you feel like you did the right thing? And the best answer we can give is, it seems like it. We think so. It's a big deal to miss this year with my kids, to miss this year of their high school and not be there when they get home and talk about their classes and the people they've met and the things they've done. That's huge. And for a decision that big, I really wanted a more solid answer than it seems like it. It feels like I should have more certainty than that I should be more sure of my answer than just seems like this was the best thing to do. I may want a more solid answer than seems like it, but sometimes it's the best thing you can do. And I'm comforted with the fact that there's precedent for this, that there are other huge decisions where the answer was, this seems like the best thing to do. In Acts 15, they were trying to figure out, do we let Gentiles into the church? And if we do, what conditions do we need to place on them? And they had a whole church council about it. They met and they discussed and they weighed the pros and cons of requiring them to obey the law or putting certain restrictions on them or no restrictions at all. And in the end, when the council made its decision, what they told the Gentiles was, it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us not to burden you with anything beyond abstaining from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, from the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality. These were the people leading the church in the apostolic age, and they had an entire council where the church got together and discussed the issue, and their answer was, this seems like the best thing to do, especially in times of uncertainty. The answer, this seems best, might be what we've got. As we're looking at this year and trying to figure out, how do we keep ourselves and our family safe? What activities should we be engaging in? Where should we be? Where should we be putting our energy and time towards? We can think and we can pray and we can seek wise counsel, but in the end, it might just come down to making a decision that seems like it's the best at the time. And we can be okay with that. We can rest that if we're following Jesus, if we're doing our best to keep in step with his Spirit, if we're being diligent to carefully think and pray through decisions, that when we come to a decision that seems like the best, that he'll be there with us in that decision, that Jesus will walk alongside us wherever that decision takes us. It may feel like I left my kids alone this year, but I know I didn't. I know God is with them. And I know Jesus will walk alongside them in these times when I can't, when they want to celebrate or grieve or share. I can't be there, but he can. And right now, this seems like the best situation. If you haven't yet, you're probably going to encounter similar situations this year. Times when you just don't know what the right thing is and you want more certainty than you feel like you can get out of making a decision. And when you're in those times and when you're racking your brain trying to figure out what is the best thing to do, I wish I knew. I just want to encourage you that if you're thinking and praying carefully, that if you're trying to stay in step with the Spirit, you can make a decision that seems the best, and God will walk you through it. In a week, our family of 3 will be moving back into our house in a country where COVID cases are spiking, where there are many more restrictions than we've had for the past year when we were in America. But this seems like the right decision. It seems like it was the best thing to do. And we know that in the times when we're uncertain, we can trust that Jesus is walking with us through this, that we're not alone. Our kids are not alone. And none of you are alone. Do what seems best. And stay safe. Stay sane.
For 10 days, we cannot go outside this door.